Well, there is an immense amount of frustration, it must be said, not just within the Commission, but also amongst many EU leaders about where we are in this process. They thought they had signed up to the Withdrawal Agreement, that it would be ratified by this stage. Clearly, it is not. Now, that is not to say that Michel Barnier is not going to be prepared to listen to Stephen Barclay. He's the UK Brexit Secretary who is due in Brussels tonight to hold further talks. In that press conference, he talked about how their objective still is to find a solution that will respect the EU's principles, the Council guidelines, and crucially, of course, have support within the House of Commons, and that he was prepared to listen yet again to what the UK might offer in terms of the alternative arrangements to avoid this backstop and dealing with the Irish border. But there is also, and it must be said, a bit of a concerted effort that you picked up on there, Isabel, by the European Union to put pressure on Theresa May, maybe to back what Jeremy Corbyn is talking about and supporting, that is that Britain essentially stays inside the EU's customs union. Now, Jeremy Corbyn has put that as one of his demands for supporting a deal put forward by Theresa May. The EU are kind of doubling their efforts on that, suggesting that they would be willing to look at the withdrawal agreement again if Britain was prepared to stay inside the customs union. It would, of course, to a large degree deal with the Irish border question, but it would, as Theresa May fears, potentially split the Conservative Party because, of course, many Brexiteers are very, very against staying inside the customs union.
Well, which begs the question, Darren, Theresa May has to update MPs on Tuesday about her progress. What's she going to tell them?
That's a good question, Isabel. It's not entirely clear what she will tell them because there hasn't been substantial progress. She will, of course, reference back to the talks last week, primarily in Brussels, that she has now formally asked the European Union to look again at this issue of the backstop. But I think tomorrow will simply be a plea yet again ahead of amendments that will be voted on Thursday to give her more time. Now, there is pressure on Theresa May, not least of all from some of her MPs, that she does have to have another meaningful vote. There's much speculation that it could well be at the end of February because there is this fear that she is simply running down the clock in the hope that when it comes down to this ultimatum between her deal and no deal, that MPs will eventually back her deal. But many feel that it is a gamble too big to risk, and some Conservatives are suggesting that they may not be willing to give her that much more time because ultimately they want to rule out no deal. So I think pressure on Theresa May in terms of the time and the process, whether tomorrow we'll learn anything substantial new, I think is unlikely at this stage, Isabel.
A high-stakes game as Brexit approaches. Well, Darren McCaffery in Strasbourg, thanks so much.